On today's Smart 7, everyone wants to see Boris's messages, Rishi's cracking down on vaping and lots more. It's Wednesday the 31st of May, it's World Otter Day and happy birthday Colin Farrell.
The Smart 7. It's news, but
Not the news. Boris Johnson was back in the headlines again on Tuesday, this time over his WhatsApp messages. It's part of the ongoing row between Boris, the Cabinet officers and the COVID inquiry chaired by Baroness Hallett. The inquiry, which is due to begin public hearings in 2 weeks' time, had to extend a deadline for the handing over of Boris's pandemic diaries and his WhatsApps. The new deadline for the material is Thursday at 4 p.m, but it's sparked a row over Cabinet confidentiality. PM Rishi Sunak says the inquiry is really important and that we need to learn the lessons of COVID.
The government has cooperated with the inquiry. Tens of thousands of documents have been handed over. And with regard to the specific question at the moment, the government's carefully considering its position, but it's confident in the approach that it's taken.
The battle over what should and shouldn't be redacted seems set to run all week, and Labour peer Lord Falconer says the chair's been very clear.
And I don't think the government have got a leg to stand on. There seem to me to be a number of issues here. First of all, the chair, who's a very distinguished ex-judge, is saying, I decide. It's relevant to know what else you were doing, and I don't trust you to make the cut.
Whatever horrors lurk in Johnson's WhatsApps, I'm looking at you, Matt Hancock, it seems they will come out, and Boris's biographer, Sir Anthony Selden, says it's not going to be good for Bojo.
He was, I think, without any question, the worst Prime Minister of the last 100 years, and he was in charge at the time of the worst epidemic for 100 years. The public have the absolute right to know what happened. There's no precedent here. Let's get to the bottom of it, and I don't think it's going to be pretty.
Russians were surprised on Tuesday by a wave of drone attacks on Moscow. Ukraine denies responsibility, although the attacks came just 24 hours after Ukrainian General Budanov promised revenge for the ongoing attacks on Kyiv. There were at least 8 and possibly as many as 30 drones involved, with Russian air defences destroying most, although one person died and a number of buildings were hit. Russian President Vladimir Putin, a man with no sense of irony, warned that Russia will retaliate.
I am concerned about attempts to provoke a Russian backlash. They are provoking us to take mirror actions. We will see what to do about it.
On Wednesday morning, a local governor in the Krasnodar region blamed Ukraine for a drone strike that caused a fire at an oil refinery. And former Russian diplomat Boris Bondarev says that Putin and the Russian people will have been quite surprised by the attack.
I think, yes, it is quite unexpected for them, because I believe President Putin still believes sincerely that his army and his air defense have no rivals.
Food price inflation continues to be a hot topic, with figures released on Tuesday showing a slight dip, but the level's still running at over 15%. That may signal the beginning of a decline, but the government's continuing to work on a plan for a voluntary supermarket price cap on essential items. Director of Insight from the British Retail Consortium, Chris Hamer, says it's a difficult area to police and that he believes the peak may have passed.
Well, the government are talking about increasing regulation at a time when retailers can ill afford it. And so what we're asking them to do is to be sensible about the rate at which they increase those prices coming through.
Sir Stuart Rose, chairman of Asda, says the big players are very active in working to keep things affordable for consumers.
We as an industry have lent in and done some very, very good work in making sure our customers get great prices. So we're very active in making sure we stay close to our customers and give them the deals that they expect.
Vaping appears to have slipped under the radar as the friendly alternative to smoking, but that's all about to change. The government are about to crack down on loopholes, which include retailers being allowed to give free vaping samples to young people. It comes as Australia has moved to ban vaping unless it's on prescription, and with over 11% of UK 11 to 17-year-olds admitting to experimenting with vapes, it's become a serious concern. Labour described the move as a baby step and has called for more serious action, and Prime Minister Rishi Sunak says he's working on the issue.
I'm deeply concerned by the rise in young children who are vaping, and we've seen some alarming figures showing that increase over the past couple of years. I'm first and foremost a parent and a dad of 2 young girls, and I do think it's something that we should look at, and that's what we're in the process of doing.
Still to come on the Smart 7, is Ted Lasso really done? And your new favourite show just dropped. Right after this. Welcome back.
3,
The number 2 men's seed Daniil Medvedev got knocked out of the French Open at Roland Garros on Tuesday in a shock defeat to the world's 172nd ranked player. The gloriously named Brazilian Thiago Seyboth Wild won over 5 sets to clinch his first ever Grand Slam win and head to the second round. Meanwhile, the Paris Olympics are getting closer and gold-winning swimmer Adam Peaty has his mind set for competing in 2024. He publicly spoke of his struggles with ADHD and depression, but he told BBC Breakfast the plan now is to focus more on Olympic gold.
It's almost like climbing a mountain. You've got to make sure the logistics and the mindset is right at the bottom before you get to the peak. And the peak is Paris. I'm confident about Paris. I'm confident the team can have the input to get me to where I need to go. And I know, and it might sound arrogant, but I know I'm the hardest worker in the room.
Ted Lasso Season 3 is wrapped up as AFC Richmond played their final game of the season under their American coach. But the big question is this really the end? All creator Jason Sudeikis will say it's the end of the story we wanted to tell. But with Apple TV Plus refusing to call it the end of the show, it feels like there still could be more to come. Emmy-winning Hannah Waddingham has been brilliant as boss Rebecca, and she told Kelly Clarkson she really wants to see her character continue.
Jason says it's like the end of that 3-season arc.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like trapping him in a dungeon with a notepad and a pen.
It's a good idea.
And just going, dude, what are you doing?
It's the TV show everyone's been talking about. Sexy, full of music and highly controversial. No, not Love Island, it's The Idol. The definitely not based on Britney Spears' story of a troubled music star got a lot of talk in Cannes, partly because it's from the creator of Euphoria, Sam Levinson. He worked alongside The Weeknd, or Abel Tesfaye as he's now known, who also stars in the show. The Idol, known as Jocelyn's, played by Lily Rose Depp, and it's hitting Sky Atlantic on Monday.
You're the American dream. Rags to riches, trailers to mansions. Just be you.
Easy, I'll just do that.
You've been listening to The Smart 7. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Hit that follow button and have a great day. Give us 7 minutes and we'll give you the world.